I'm Kristen Oaks-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
It will likely be 2019 before the Sunshine Bridge crossing the Mississippi River in Ascension Parish reopens. A crane on a barge collided with the bridge late last month.
That has left school children, businesses, and farmers stranded on both sides. TWILA's Neil Melanson talks with a sugarcane farmer who says with the Sunshine Bridge out, his commute tripled overnight.
Sugarcane harvest is well underway here in St. James Parish. Mostly good weather since harvest began has helped get these machines through these fields. There's a shadow over these river parishes, though. Late in October, an errant barge crashed into the Sunshine Bridge, closing it potentially for the rest of the year.
Normally it was roughly 18 miles or so. Now it depends where we're loading. It's anywhere from maybe 48 to 52 miles.
Pete Dufresne's fields are here next to the Sunshine Bridge, literally. Prior to its closure, he brought his crops across it. Now he says time and money expenditures have tripled.
Added fuel costs, added trucks, and also added hours for the guys in the field, which adds to the cost. So it's definitely a minimum of 3 times the expense for our harvest season this year.
Before the Sunshine Bridge closure, Dufresne had to go from here at the base of the Sunshine Bridge across Highway 70 to the Lula Westfield plant in Napoleonville. Now he has to go almost all the way to New Orleans, across the bridge in Gramercy, and back north to the plant.
The impact to the bridge doesn't change the crop, or it doesn't change the harvest season, because the mill still has to grind its certain amount of sugar cane every day in a 24-hour cycle. So we have to maintain a consistent cane supply regardless of how far we have to travel to get there. So in the field-wise, the only difference we experience in is extended hours of the day, because like I said, what used to be a 1-hour trip to the mill is now 3 hours. So we just had to add extra trucks to fill in the gap so we can continue hauling consistently throughout the day.
It's not just the sugarcane industry that's suffering, Dufresne says. Community members and industries are being impacted as well.
It's even significantly impacted our school system. We have students on the East Bank travel to the West Bank, teachers and such, and it's just been a tremendous burden on the whole community as well as our industry.
For now, Pete's days begin well before dawn. Even with these frustrations, though, he's still thinking about the safety and convenience of his neighbors.
We did start our hauling times earlier in the day. Our trucks leave about 3 in the morning, so we can try to avoid peak traffic hours to try to be good neighbors and stay off the road as much as we can in heavy traffic time.
Governor John Bel Edwards said it would be at least until January before the bridge reopens to traffic. When I talked with Pete Dufresne, he said it might be open for single-lane traffic before then, but even then it would still be too late for most of the sugarcane season. Guys, he's got a long way to go. I don't know if you saw that on the map, but he's got to go all the way back around there. And the problem is, it's not just the length, but the traffic is increased because everybody's going. Normally those 2 bridges are 2 separate groups of traffic. Now it's down to one. So it's just thick.
Well, and also, when they built the Sunshine Bridge, a lot of people criticized Governor Jimmy Davis because it pretty much connected 2 sugarcane fields. When you look at how important it is now to that area, obviously Governor Jimmy Davis had a vision, but right now is when we need it the most.
Yeah, we do. And of course, farmers like Pete Dufresne, only 2 other farmers in that area are further away from Lula Westfield than him. And so, but he's just right in the middle of it. He said there's only 2 good things about this. Number 1, the traffic in his immediate area is down because nobody's going that way. And 2, at least there's no emergency services that need to be, going back and forth. They have 2 separate hospitals in that area. But for a lot of those school kids, I know as a parent, it's just got to be a nightmare.
Oh yeah, having them in the car that long can be rough. Thank you very much, Neil Melanson. Florence Gordon Michael These names now join the ranks of Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and Ike for those living in the South, especially farmers. Georgia officials estimate damage from Hurricane Michael could reach $3 billion to the ag industry alone.
These storms struck in September and October as farmers worked around the clock to harvest their crops ahead of the storms. As TWILA's Carl Wiggers shows us, now that the rain has stopped and rebuilding underway, Louisiana farmers and ranchers are sending help from the Bayou State.
November is a time Louisiana cattlemen and dairymen are typically counting their hay for the winter, but that's not what Matt Travis of Kentwood is up to this morning. Travis is loading a truck with hay to send to ranchers in Georgia who are still hurting a month after Hurricane Michael has come and gone. In October, Travis traveled to Florida to deliver a tanker of water, and the destruction was just heartbreaking, and he knew he had to do more.
We've seen farms that their fences was tore up, trees down, houses gone. Most tractors didn't even have a window left in them. Come home and there was several more farmers asked, said, you know, what could we do? And we come up with the idea of the hay.
Travis used connections in the Department of Agriculture and Forestry as well as the Southern Farming Facebook page to find farmers that he and his neighbors could help.
I talked to one guy in Georgia, which is where this hay's going. He don't have, his fences is gone, and all they have now, they're having to keep them basically pinned up, which some 2,000 cattle pinned up, and they having to feed them feed, hay, and of course it goes fast whenever you have to do that. No grazing, you know, it's all just basically brought to them right now.
So that's what Travis and his community are doing with the help of truckers like Charlie Hurston, who says this will be a great load of relief for these ranchers.
It looks like it's going to be 16 and 14 and what's that, 30?
30 bales can be difficult to haul across state lines because of load heights and weights, but he says that permits will not get in their way.
I got them in the office working on it. I believe it's going to be all right. But like I told them, it don't matter. I'm going anyway. Cows is hungry, and that's all that matters to me.
It makes me feel good that you're able, that we have enough, and we're blessed enough to have enough to be able to, you know, help people out. And it's not all been me, you know, it's Kentwood Co-op, Mr. Bubba Huckabee, the manager at Kentwood Co-op, Nikki Smith, Klein Peter, these two trucks, Mr. Charles that just left here with this truck. They're charging nothing to do what they're doing. And we've had people that don't farm, that don't have hay, that don't have no connections with farming, and they've found out about this, and they've called and said, hey, in what way could we help? Who's paying the fuel to take this hay over there? And I said, well, the truck owners, the only guys that own the truck. And they said, can we give money to help pay for fuel?
We started doing it a couple of years ago, going out in Texas and stuff. It just went from there. We're just fortunate enough to be able to do it. I just hope we never have to have it. But I feel like, you know, if we do, hopefully they'll remember and help us.
The hay was only part of the relief that farmers are sending to victims in the wake of Hurricane Michael. Travis also helped by using his own semi to pull a tanker trailer donated by Klein Peter. It's the kind that usually is used for milk, but this time is full of water to be used to cook for the relief workers and the victims in Florida. And you guys, this is something we see every time a storm hits, every time there's someone in need, and farmers are, it's really cool because farmers are always one of the first to jump in and help, even after kind of the news cameras are gone.
And I think it's something that Louisiana farmers understand all too well, because it feels like we constantly have something happening in our state, and it makes you proud, though, to be part of Louisiana agriculture, because we're always some of the first to give back,
yeah,
too.
It is, and that's actually in my story. Charlie mentions that. He says, I mean, we've needed this before, and God, I mean, if the time comes, if we need it again, hopefully we're paying it forward into that and kind of investing in that. Something else that's cool, I didn't even mention this in the story, but there's also rice coming from Louisiana. 1,900 pounds of rice from the rice industry is being sent through a group in Ascension Parish. It's just totally unrelated, but it's also just goes into that same group of farmers and Louisiana agriculture that are just sending help over that way, over east. It's pretty neat.
Well, it makes me proud. Great story, Carl Wiggers.
The Louisiana Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee is also coming through with supplies, not for hurricane victims, but for our veterans.
Every year, members of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee go to veterans' homes and hospitals across the state to deliver blankets, shirts, socks, toiletries, coffee, and other supplies. Here they are last year in reserve delivering 200 pounds of coffee. The deliveries will happen throughout the month of November, starting in reserve on November 7th, then going to the Monroe Veterans Home on the 14th. There will be 2 deliveries on November 19th, first at the Alexandria Veterans Hospital in the morning and then the Jennings Veterans Home that afternoon. On November 24th, the Women's Leadership Committee will go to Bossier Veterans Home, and the final delivery happens on November 27th at the Jackson Veterans Home in East Feliciana Parish. To learn more about the Louisiana Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee, visit our website at twilatv.org. Well, Louisiana is poised to have a good year for sweet potato growers, and Northeast Louisiana farmers are finishing up their harvesting of this nutritious crop.
As TWILA's Tammy Arender found out, the LSU Ag Center is working on a new variety of sweet potato that could hold a big appeal to farmers and consumers alike.
On this farm in Morehouse Parish, the sweet potato harvest is nearing its final days. An unusually wet October delayed this harvest, but overall, Brian Barham is happy with his crop.
The yields are very good so far. They still look good even though we've had a lot of rain during the harvest.
Barham's 230 acres of this highly nutritious and colorful crop is right next door to the LSU Ag Center's research plot.
We evaluate about 30,000 true seeds a year. Each one of those is an individual. They could become that next new variety, but the trick is to find out which one is that next new variety. Some color changes there so we can get that result.
Dr. Don Labonte is with the LSU Ag Center out of Baton Rouge. Labonte and other researchers are looking at a new variety that could even outshine the hugely popular Beauregard, Orleans, and Evangeline varieties. This one doesn't have a name yet. It's called 1381.
Do they have that extra flavor kick to them? You know, do they have that extra sheen and shine to the skin? And that's like where this 1381 comes in. It's got that curb appeal. It looks so nice.
Sweet potatoes are put through similar tests as that of new car tires. They must be able to perform well in all environments. Too much or too little rain, heat, cold, and soil composition.
So we've been looking at it for a number of years. It's always like, okay, have we looked at it enough? Have we seen it in enough places? Have we seen it where it's been in drought, in too much rain, too much, you know, all the different environments you can throw at it. And then we have a feel for what it can and cannot do.
For the consumer, it's all about taste, which Barham says Louisiana sweet potatoes can't be beat and can be found on his dinner table several nights a week.
I had 2 yesterday, but quite often, a lot of fries.
I'm with Brian. I adore some sweet potato fries. Now, one other thing that I did not know about sweet potatoes is you're not supposed to eat them right out of the ground. They're supposed to cure for about 6 weeks. So at the end of 6 weeks, the researchers have another layer of testing. It's the taste test, and they send these North Louisiana sweet potatoes to chefs all over the country to get their reviews. In Oak Ridge, I'm Tammy Arender for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
The 2017 Louisiana sweet potato crop had a gross farm gate value of nearly $53 million, according to the LSU Ag Center. And I know Tammy will be cooking up some of those sweet potatoes, and we'll be doing a taste test of our own here as soon as she brings it to us, because I'm sure it's going to be sweet. Well, I don't know about you, but I love Halloween. It's my excuse to enjoy a few too many Twizzlers, dress up with my boys, and spend a lot of time enjoying family fun in Sportsman's Paradise.
Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Mike Strain, did just that for the Halloween festivities at Indian Creek Recreational Campground in Woodworth, Louisiana. Indian Creek is home to 2,250-acre Indian Creek Lake. It includes 100 acres of developed recreation facilities and 250 acres of primitive campground. But if you visit during Halloween, I suggest staying on the path. It can get pretty spooky out there.
Spooky.
Oh, Frank, look at all the clever costumes.
Those are costumes? I thought it was a family reunion.
I'm Commissioner Mike Strain. I'm here with my wife Susan, and we're here today, and we hope everybody has a great time. And we're going to have a pet parade, then we're going to have the judging contest, right? Well, we're in Woodworth, Louisiana. We're celebrating Halloween. Last night we had the hay rides. Today we're going to have a pet contest where they're dressing up in scary costumes, and we're going to be having trick-or-treating here this evening. We'll be showing scary movies tonight. There's popcorn for the kids, so just a lot of things for fun for the kids and the whole family, kids of all ages. And we're here at Indian Creek Recreation Area, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, the weather's nice, it's clear skies, but you really need to come one day and see what's here at Indian Creek. Best costume. Chico. Give it up for Chico. Come on, Chico.
Sit. Ready? Go Tigers.
Best trick goes to Ricardo. Best float goes to your zoo. Bring up the zoo.
Indian Creek Recreation Campgrounds is open year-round, and you can plan a visit by visiting our website at twilatv.org.
Still to come on TWILA, we head to the National FFA Convention where Louisiana members found their way onto the big stage.
But first, we'll show you how a vet is raising a special herd. Stay with us. Mississippi authorities report they recently captured 2 Mexican boll weevils in the northern part of their state.
Louisiana Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry Dr. Mike Strain says trapping has been stepped up in northeast Louisiana in an effort to keep that insect out of our state. Strain believes the insects probably came in on some type of equipment from Texas. While the boll weevil has been eradicated in most of the Cotton Belt, it's still quite prevalent along the South Texas border. Extra traps have been placed along the I-49, I-20 corridor near truck stops and Department of Transportation scale houses. Louisiana agriculture officials are carefully checking any equipment from out of state to make certain they are clean and insect-free. Dr. Strain also says only those 2 boll weevils in North Mississippi have been found. Louisiana spent more than $150 million to eradicate the boll weevil. The last one was captured in Louisiana in May of 2010. There are 270 farms where people raise sheep across Louisiana. That's according to the LSU Ag Center.
They're great animals if you don't have much land, and as TWILA's AJ Sabine shows us, one former vet in West Feliciana Parish has grown her ranch with competition and independence in mind.
Livestock! Guardian dog!
When Dr. Roberta McEwen started her sheep ranch 17 years ago, she wanted to train her sheepdogs for competition while maintaining her independence from Big Pharma. Here's why.
I want to produce animals that don't need to depend on pharmaceuticals. So we'll use some medicinal herbs, lespedeza and chicory, but primarily we use rotational grazing. And then when the sheep and the cattle cohabit the same pasture, although they consume the same worms, they deworm one another.
Promoting mutually beneficial relationships between agriculture and the next generation of rancher compels Roberta to pass on what she's learned.
Since 1986, the U.S. government removed all wool subsidies. Okay. I support 2 other friends who do raise wool, and that's why we started our Fiber Night at the barn, where ladies get together and knit and spin, and they are starting an Etsy and eBay business.
Roberta explains that the notion of giving back has obliged her to bring in the family to perpetuate her unique operation.
It is our hope to integrate sheep and cattle, probably expand the cattle if I had my choices, and be able to give that to our children. For our children, we will be giving some sheep and cattle each year to our children and involving them in the farm.
McEwen grows her future by counting her sheep. In Jackson, Louisiana, I'm AJ Sabine for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
Earlier, you heard AJ mention that Dr. McEwen got into raising sheep because she wanted her corgis to win in competition with other shepherd dogs. Today, she uses dogs to maintain her flock, and yes, a herd of sheep can be called a flock. For more information about McEwen Farms, log on to our website at twilatv.org.
Back when I lived in Zachary, Dr. McEwen was the vet for my cat Martha. Go share the connections. Still to come on TWILA, the boost for this show is going to be huge, the hugest ever.
But first, a Louisiana FFA officer does something that hasn't happened in 31 years. Stay with us. Louisiana now has a national FFA officer. It's the first time in 31 years.
Congratulations to Lainey LeBlanc of Walker, Louisiana. She is the 2018-2019 secretary on the National FFA officer team. As I mentioned, LeBlanc is from Walker and currently an animal science and science and technology major at LSU. She's also a former state officer, having served as the Louisiana FFA state secretary in 2016-2017. LeBlanc is one of 6 FFA members chosen nationally to serve on the FFA officer team. According to the FFA organization, national officers commit to a year of service, and each officer travels more than 100,000 national and international miles during that year. Have your frequent flyer miles ready. Joining LeBlanc on the National FFA officer team are Luke O'Leary of California as president, Shea Booster of Oregon as the Western Region Vice President, Jordan Stowe of Alabama as the Southern Region Vice President, Ridge Hughbanks of Oklahoma serving as the Central Region Vice President, and Adrian Shunk of Michigan serving as the Eastern Region Vice President. Congratulations to LeBlanc and all the other officers. We know great things are ahead for you. A national officer isn't the only achievement Louisiana FFA has to be proud of. The list is actually too long for us to tell you all about right now. 2 Louisiana teams, Natchitoches Central and Elton, won first place in the entire country in their CDE competitions. Ponchatoula was also a national finalist for the National Chapter Award. For a full list of the successes of the Louisiana FFA, go to our website at twilatv.org. Well, during the 91st National FFA Convention in Indianapolis, President Donald Trump spoke to FFA members for more than an hour. For the first time in 27 years, the sitting president addressed the convention in person. The last president to do so was President George H.W. Bush back in 1991.
It's been a long time. President Trump discussed trade issues, foreign policy, inheritance taxes, and excessive government regulation. He assured farmers and FFA members that despite the rough road they have endured the past year, recent developments and new trade deals hold the promise of much better days ahead for the agriculture industry.
No one is better prepared to live the American dream than the young Americans here today. You are amazing people. Amazing. You are amazing people. Your time with the FFA in the field, on the farm, in the lab, and in the classroom has not only prepared you for a stellar, great career in something you love, it's taught you essential truths about life and about the world in which we live. You know that success only comes through hard work and perseverance. You know that very well. You know that nothing compares to the satisfaction of an achievement earned and built with your own sweat, your own skill, and with your own 2 hands. You know that. True. It's true. But you know that just one person taking one step, seizing one opportunity, can change a life, change a community, or even change the world forever. You know that.
We posted a link to President Trump's entire speech on our website at twilatv.org.
That does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when Carl will show us how a local farm bureau is working to keep their community safe.
Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.